What if I told you that the very thing that you fear the most, failure, is actually the one thing that can lead you to greatness? Too many people believe that failing means they aren't good enough, smart enough, or strong enough. But that is a lie. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a step towards it. Every great man or woman who has ever succeeded first learned how to fail and rise again. Let me show you. Thomas Edison, the man who failed 10,000 times. When Thomas Edison was inventing the light bulb, he failed over 10,000 times. Most people would have quit. Yes, you would. I would have also quit. But when asked about his failures, he said, I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Eventually, his persistency paid him off, and he gave the whole world one of the greatest inventions of all times. My dear, my sister, my friend, you have not failed. You have just found another way of doing something. You have just found that this is not it. You have just found that this is not one of the ways of doing it. You have just found that this is not how to do it. You have just found so many ways of doing something, but you have not failed. It does not mean you have failed. In the Bible, the man who denied Jesus, Peter was one of Jesus' closest disciples. He failed when it mattered the most. He denied Jesus 3 times. He was ashamed, broken, and felt like complete failure. But was that at the end of his story? No. Jesus restored him, and Peter went on to become one of the greatest apostles, preaching to thousands and building the early church. All you need is to restore yourself. Let God restore you. Cheer up and build something. Get up and encourage yourself that failure is not opposite of success. I tell you today that failure doesn't define you. How you rise after your failing is what defines you. The basketball legend who was cut off from his team, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players in history, was cut from his high school basketball team. Imagine that. He could have given up. Yes, as he want to give up. He could have believed he wasn't good enough, but instead he used that failure as fuel to work harder. He later said, I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeeded. So you failing over and over is when you can recognize success when it comes. Do you remember Moses, the man who thought he was nobody? Moses had a calling to lead his people, but he messed up. He killed an Egyptian, ran away, and spent 40 years in the desert thinking he had failed his purpose. But God wasn't done with him. God isn't done with you, but God wasn't done with him. One day, he called Moses from a burning bush and sent him back to Egypt. The same Moses who was once ran in fear became the leader who led the entire nation to freedom. Your failure today doesn't cancel your purpose. It prepares you for it. Do you remember Walt Disney, the dreamer who was told he had no imagination? Walt Disney was fired from his first job, yes, at a newspaper because they told him he had no imagination and no good ideas. He later started his own company, but it went bankrupt. But he didn't stop. He kept trying, kept dreaming, and eventually created Disney, the most magical entertainment empire in the world. Joseph, from slave to prime minister. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and falsely imprisoned. Every time it looked like his life was getting better, then he was knocked down again. But each failure was a step toward his destiny. Eventually, he rose to become the prime minister of Egypt, saving millions from famine, including the same brothers who once betrayed him. Sometimes the road to success is filled with detours. Keep moving forward. So what about you watching me? Maybe you have failed in school, at work, in relationship, or in your personal goals. Maybe people have told you you are not good enough. Maybe you have told yourself that, but hear me today, failure is not the end. It's just the beginning. Every setback, every mistake, every rejection is a lesson. Not a life sentence. Real failure is giving up. Keep going. The road to success is not straight. It's full of twists, turns, and obstacles. But if you keep pushing forward, if you refuse to let failure stop you, you will make it. Because failure is not the opposite of success. It's a step towards it. Give me a comment in the comment section if you have ever decided to stop because of failures, but you want to challenge yourself again by this video, or you have been motivated by this video to take another step and get back into working. A notification or write in the comment section for us to know the next time.